let's go ahead and start as always with breaking the ice. The state of ninth generation of gaming. And I'm going to open this up by saying it is abysmal of where we've come from and where we're at now. It
Wait,
is abysmal.
wait. Okay, preference. What exactly is abysmal about this generation?
Okay, let's get down to brass tack. PS3, matter of fact, you know what? I want to go back that far. PS4, somewhere around this generation, I'm sorry, of that generation, you had landmark titles defined the generation. Things that push the envelope, quote unquote, in a sense. You had the original Ghost, you had more Uncharted, you just had more not only feature complete games, but
Mm-hmm.
you saw the jump in the results of the technology from PS3 to PS4, 360 to Xbox Ones. Better graphics, more enemies on screen. We'll get a little bit maybe better loading times. You had games that defy that generation. As far as PS5 and the Series X, a good chunk of games are and were bridge games. They came out on PS4, PS5,
Yeah.
and a lot of the promises that we were giving before the generation, PlayStation and a new SSD and no more loading times. All
Oh,
right,
yeah.
you have a few titles that take advantage of that, but on good 8, 9 out of 10 of cases, your average game still takes a minute or two to load. Now, yes, that's on the developer side, optimizing the game better, but even the games, it's only just now do you see devs making a priority of PS5 Series X only games and them showing the quality of the technology. We're 5 years in and they're talking about PS6 and the next Xbox. And it's like, whoa, 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 Kiwasabi. We ain't done. We just begun to eat. And you want to bring out the next meal? No, 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 no. This is just
So,
my take. This is my take.
just so I understand what you're saying that you feel like this generation did not make a big enough jump in.
No. Now, like I said, I will admit the PS5 and Series X, I'll give them on the games that does it. The loading times, like what's it? I think it was God of War, or it's another Sony title that you click continue, you win the game.
Mm-hmm.
Almost instantaneously. And it's like, all right, cool. You have some Xbox games. Oh, matter of fact, not even Xbox games. I'll give Xbox this. That resume feature. Oh,
Oh, oh my
oh,
God. Chef
that's a
fucking
game changer.
kiss, yo. Like,
That's a game changer. To sit up here
yo.
and be like, you know what? I'm in the middle of this mission, but I want to stop and go back to this race on Forza instantaneously. Now,
Yeah.
yes, at the beginning, like all new tech, it had its hiccups,
Mm-hmm.
little problems, little nicks here and there. But as of now, beautiful. I
And
don't know I don't know why no one ever thought of this beforehand, but wow. But after that, what can you say is a crowning game or feature of this generation?
well, and just because I could have sworn that PlayStation before it came out said it was gonna do something similar, and it does not do the resume anything. Every time you exit out of the application and go to a different one, it closes out. I could have sworn PlayStation had a promise for that too, or maybe I'm just misremembering.
So I do remember them vaguely saying something about that, and there's two sides to this argument because there is a somewhat
Mm-mm.
on the PlayStation called Switch or Switch something. It's down and to the left. Whatever the previous game you played, you click on that, and I guess it just boots it up a little bit faster.
Yeah, but it's
That
still
but it's
it's
not
not.
it's not yeah, it's not the quick resume.
Yeah, yeah.
But then like I said, Xbox was giving similar promises like that as well. When you
Mm-hmm.
had Sony's first party games first coming out and everyone was raving about, the haptic feedback and the little things of the dual sense, the vibrations.
Yeah.
When it's raining, it feels like it's tapping on the controller. You had Xbox saying like, hey, we're gonna look into making a controller like that. We're gonna do something like that, and
Listen,
nothing has come of that.
that's just Xbox over promising. They've done that for 2 generations now.
They have,
Over
but when
promising and under delivering.
under delivering, absolutely. But
Uh
when you're as far behind as them, you gotta sell something. You gotta sell something.
I mean,
Now
like
I
I
will give
said,
Xbox one thing.
what?
Their limited edition controllers or the
I mean,
customizable
yeah.
controllers that you can make from Microsoft.com,
Yeah.
huh, beautiful. PlayStation controllers, on the other hand, when they kind of do designs, kind of like it kind of feels like you guys slapped some stickers on this. It was like, hey, this is new, and then
Y-
had the audacity to raise the price.
Oh,
Mm.
I haven't bought a controller in a minute, and you already know if something happens to my controller, I do the old switcheroo. So I don't. Mm-mm.
We're going to have a quick sidebar moment. Infamous sidebar moment. I am part of the problem. I have quite a few limited edition controllers
Of
sitting right there, nice and
course,
cozy in the box.
of course.
And my cousin will say it's part of my hoarding, which it's not. Do not
You a
listen to her.
hoarder. He
It's
buys
just,
Steam systems, people.
it's just nice. I like nice things.
Yeah,
Side note
no.
over. Anywho, yeah, I'm just not impressed where we're at right now with ninth gen game. I will
It's
admit the SSD is nice. Loading times, fast, speed, etc. It is nice.
but how can you say that when you're looking at a game that load time is shit? Like
Well, yeah. Well, that's why I was saying from game to game. Matter of fact, I'll be honest with you. If I really had to sit and think about it, it's probably Sony's first party games that really take advantage of that almost instantaneous loading thing.
because
Anything else is just a normal day at the office.
Space Marines load time is ridiculous. Like I cannot stand when, you either defeat or victory at the end and it's going through all the loading screens to bring you back to your little, quick menu,
Uh-huh.
whatever that you want to call that space. And
Hmm.
then it goes into another loading screen because the host quote unquote left the game. We need to decide that before we go through one of these loading screens. Like if that person leaves, you need to already be that need to be one loading screen. Don't bring me back to back load. That infuriates me on Space Marines too. Like don't do that. Don't do that. Cuz the loading screens are
So
not quick and to do them back to back, I'm irritated.
So the Space Marine thing, I hear you, but I think that's more of game design choice because you may not know this. Space Marine 2 is heavily, heavily dependent on connecting to the servers
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
for the
yeah. Yeah.
yeah, it's not an online only game. You can't play it offline, but you can only earn the achievements slash trophies for the game if you are connected to their server. Which is why I guess whenever anything is loading, if you ever look at it, the biggest chunk or longest thing it loads will be
Yeah, yeah.
whatever the universe that this game has to adhere to. That seems to be the bulk of making sure everything stays the way it was. I do remember an infamous interview or someone was talking about when they were designing the game that I guess like they were set back a month or two or something because they was like, hey, the way that I guess one of the boots or some design of the armor, they was like, no, that's not a lore accurate. Someone will call that out and there'll be a problem. And they had to go back and make sure they designed it and kept it adhered to the way of the lore. But I do understand what you're getting.
But
I
my
do understand.
thing is too, these are the most powerful consoles. There should be
Mm-hmm.
a certain level this shit gonna load. Okay. I just feel like Space Marine. I feel like I'm playing it on a PS4. How long it takes. This is a PS. I don't give a damn about the whole server thing. It should be quicker. And that's part of the thing I can understand what you're saying about this generation. It's just not a big enough leap. Like
No.
sometimes I could swear I'm playing on a PS4. How certain thing is optimized and how it just feels. And I mean, listen, I'm kind of with you. I feel like it was, and then too, I will give some grace because I feel at that time, life was crazy and it was shortages and supply issues. So I feel like the bridge between PS4 and PS5 was extended because of the lack of supplies. Like you couldn't get a PS5 for 2+ years. The scalping, the reselling was just so bad. And at
Very
that time,
rampant.
you gotta
Very bad.
remember too that the world was shut down. Like I spent 3 years working from home during that time because we just wasn't going in the office because of the issue that was going on. And so I just feel
Mm-hmm.
like that all that really did set this generation back when there was time for all this to be leaps and bounds better than the previous generation. I just feel like it was just a lack of workforce and time, and it really is unfortunate because now all the Nintendos and the the PlayStation, the Xbox, they're like, "All right, on to the next." And I'm just like, kind of like you, like, I ain't got my money's worth out of this PS5 yet. I just feel like, no, no, don't talk about Generation 10. Don't disrespect me. Don't play in my face like that.
So there's 2 points that I want to bring up and make with
Mhm.
what you were saying. As far as, when the world was shut down, the C word and etc. Before the ninth generation began, the former CEO of PlayStation was doing an interview and he was giving this bloster talk about, PlayStation, we're about generations, this whole thing. And it was setting up to be this grand unveil. And then the world shut down. And,
Mhm.
I understand, they had to make some drastic last minute changes. Like you said, the shift of people coming into the office working and transitioning to working from home was something I don't think no company was prepared to deal with.
Oh
But
yeah.
there's another drawback on why this, at least on Sony's side, why this generation seems so lackluster was their huge push slash initiative into the live service thing. Now I won't dig deep into that because we got more of that later on in the show. But that's another thing that kind of held down. They wasted a lot of time, a lot of effort into pushing into an initiative that they are now slowly rolling back and backing out of, where you've wasted that time of your studios working on stuff that nothing has come to fruition, and now you're trying to backpedal to go back to your bread and butter. That's one
Mhm.
issue. Then two, former, I can't remember if he was a CEO or he was a very high end exec of PlayStation. Sean Layton, he's done several interviews and he has said something that I don't think the game industry is hearing loud enough. We have plateaued as far as it comes to gaming and graphics. Graphics will
Hmm.
not get any sexier than what they are now. And to push harder, it is hurting gameplay, creativity, and optimization. I have never bought a game because I can see the peach fuzz on a character's face. I have not bought a game because the water physics seem so realistic that their hair moves in the wind as it should in real life. Pushing for that type of stuff, yes, that's nice, but it takes away from other aspects of the game. And I agree with him that we have plateaued as far as graphics. Some may
So
argue, oh, well, that's not true, etc. But yes, it is.
So wait, let me get so his point is there's a plateau because graphics cannot get any better than what they are, or because people prioritize graphics over creativity.
So he was saying that we have hit the plateau of graphic, and that because people keep pushing to try to make graphics whatever more than what they are, you lose hindsight of other aspects of the game, and like optimization, for instance. I'm trying to think of something of a good example. Well, we'll go with Borderlands 3. Borderlands 3 launched not broken or in a bad state as most games, but when you would hit the pause button to bring up the menu, the game would stutter for maybe 3 to 5 seconds.
Wait,
And
hold on. How you struggle when you hitting pause?
yes,
What are we
yes,
doing?
that's a real thing. And the more inventory you had on you, the more that stutter will
Yeah, I
go
remember
about.
that. Mhm.
Yeah. So that's bad optimization in a sense. And like I said, me personally, I have no problem with PS4 graphics. I have no problem with certain PS5 graphics, depending on the game. You do not need to design the game and you put so much focus on, like I said before, with ray tracing, how the light hits their hair and it shines and shimmers. That doesn't matter if you're in the middle of a firefight and you're trying to keep from dying. You don't care about that. I mean, I speak for myself. Like I said, I've never bought a game because of I can see the detail of the freckles on a character's face.
Yeah. You know, like I said, when it comes to me playing games, my priority is, am I having fun? Now, I
Absolutely.
will say this: I'm a little bit more bougie than you are when it comes to the look of a game. Like, I mean,
Yes, you are.
PS4 games are very tolerable. Like, there's nothing wrong with PS4 games. I'm just not going back GTA 3 where his hand was a blob.
Blasphemy.
Red Dead 1. I'm not going
Blasphemy.
back to Red Dead 1. I'm sorry.
Blasphemy.
It's just too rough, baby. It's a little too vintage for me, okay?
We got to
But
do
that's just
another
me.
quick infamous sidebar. Another quick infamous sidebar.
Boy, you live
You're
on the
part of the problem,
sidebar.
okay? You're part of the problem saying stuff like that, okay?
Okay,
There's
but
nothing
I just
wrong
said,
with
listen,
a
I
good
just
game.
said PS4 games are fine. I'm saying PS3, 360. It's just hard. Like I'm not playing Saints Row 1. I'll play Saints Row 2.
Oh,
Like that's just I just have certain I don't know standard when it comes to what I'm about to look at. It does need to
a certain
be.
sense of bourgeois.
Listen, I'm just saying it. It's just certain old games just look ugly on today's TV, and I'm sorry. like, I,
No, you are absolutely right. A lot every game does not age well, you know. Like I was playing my original Xbox. I was playing a first person shooter called Area 51 and
oh my
as
god,
much
that's
as I
so
was
old.
enjoying the gameplay, I was like, yo, this shit looks old. It's like eye cancer. Damn.
oh my god.
And I couldn't figure out if like, yo, did the game look this ugly originally and we just didn't know better? Or
I
does
mean,
it
yeah, we
look
didn't
this
have no
ugly because it's
standards.
old? Well that yeah, but or does it look this old because it's old hardware on this new sexy ass TV?
Oh yeah, I think it's a mix of both.
But I don't have a problem with going back and playing older game. I was
Yeah, oh,
playing
yeah,
my
because
GameCube
you
last week.
play PS Vitas and PSP games. Like, yeah,
Damn, sound like
you
a hater.
he's for the streets. He'll take anything.
You sound like a hater. I hear the tone,
I
the
listen.
intent in your
I just
voice
know you're
when you
willing
say
to
PS
take
Vita.
anything that is given to you. That's all. That's
That's
all.
not true.
That's
That's not
all.
true.
God,
Because I
listen.
don't take EA shit. I'm
Okay,
slowly
so
trickling down
don't act
on
like you didn't play
Ubisoft
that
shit.
Mass Effect game, the latest one,
I gave it
the
20
one
hours and I
where
never went back.
infamous my face is
My
hurting.
face is hurting. Oh yeah, yeah. I gave it 20 hours and I was like, we never went back to it.
Yeah, yeah, we got
But
to talk about the Mass Effect IP one
Mass
day.
Effect Massacre. We'll get to that. We'll get to
Yeah,
that. But
actually, that can just be a weekly rant about EA.
that could be. Like we'll add that to the topic at hand. But
Uh,
that's how I feel of current ninth gen gaming. It in itself is a disappointment. Like I said, we are just now starting to get real PS5 Series X games from the ground up. No longer bound to the constraints of the PS4, which is not to say the
hmm
PS4 is bad. It's not to say PS4 bad, but I understand why certain devs do it because you have more
Yeah, you have to
people
drop
on
them.
Xbox Ones and PS4s than these new systems, and
Yeah,
God
but
bless them
you
because
gotta
you
leave
have not
them.
shown them a reason to go out and spend $500 to $600 now on a system that keeps raising in price, but the games keep being mediocre and broken.
But you gotta leave that old system behind at some point. Cause there is no growth.
You do.
That's why it gets stifled. Like you can't grow if you're still holding on to the old hardware. Like
But then what? But then on the same point, it's like a double-edged sword. There's no growth until you move on. But then why move on when you're getting lackluster product? They want you to pay more and give you less.
oh yeah. I mean, yeah, it's just a vicious cycle of just
It is a
toxicity.
vicious cycle, and I don't mean to keep tooting this game's horn, but damn it, we're gonna keep doing it because it stands out among the rest. Space Marine 2 is feature complete, and not only do they keep adding to it for let me say the people in the back, free 99, but the game worked and works.
Yeah, even with all its
They
flaws and things that irritate me, it's got a few things that it irritates me about the gameplay. But as far as being a just 10 out of 10, baby,
absolutely
there is no other complete game that's topping this year for me so far, just for me.
so far. And I
Yeah.
100% agree. I could give two or three examples, but I have not dug deep into them in a sense. Pause phrasing. Gaming is not what it used to be.
Oh,
As
I
I
say,
made
I say that all the time. We
oh
grew
yeah.
up in the greatest gaming era ever. Like, listen, you already know how I feel about that.
Oh
Like
yes, that's why you have
a good game back
go ahead.
then, a good game used to come out every month. Yeah, I used to have to decide and really bunker down on which one was going to get my parents 49.99. It was overload. Like every other month there was a good game and it's just like, oh, I can't play them all. But now like I can go 4 months without buying a game, and that should just tell you something. Yeah, somebody's probably in the comments gonna go, "Oh, games are more expensive than they've ever been, and it's a lot more manpower, and blah 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 blah." I don't give a damn. Okay.
All right, hold on. I gotta say something to that. I have a quick rant because I hate technology. The tech industry is one of the fastest evolving, fastest growing. What was expensive or hard to make 10 years ago is now made with ease. And you say, oh, well, the rising cost of gaming. The reason games cost so much to make is because they make stupid choices in it with the expenses and the budget. There's no way in hell you can tell me with the way technology is now, if you were to go and make a San Andreas esque like game, oh, it's just so expensive. How? When there's better technology now than it was then. Where are you putting the budget?
Let me ask. I'm gonna bring up a game, and it's gonna be a cheat code, but I'm gonna bring it up
Okay.
anyway because I don't want you to go too far into this. They say GTA 6 is $1 billion game, and
You
I
want
preference that
you
that's a cheat code game, but any other game
okay.
cannot have that. But like I said in the last episode, we know what GTA, we know what Rockstar do with GTA. They push graphics to the fucking limit. That I mean, when I looked at the trailer for GTA, I was like, God damn, that shit look like a real video, like in real life almost. Like I had to do a double take. But yeah, I just wanted to burst your bubble with just that. But continue.
So I can, before I continue what I was saying, I can address that. The official budget for GTA 6 has not been revealed. People estimate and assume it will be or cost $1 billion to make because everyone is under the assumption of one that since 5 came out in 13 that they've been working on 6 since 13. That's not true. They have came out and stated when they went into pre-production and when they went into full production. So this entire 12 years they have not been working on GTA
Oh well,
6.
yeah, like they made Red Dead
Yeah,
between that time,
yes,
and
yeah.
yeah.
After GTA 5 came out, they went to work on Red Dead, and I don't know what people keep getting this mixed up. Like, oh, they've been working this 12 years. That's not true. The budget, you made me think of this when you brought up GTA 6. The budget of a game is heavily determined where the game is made. A lot of games or game studios that reside on the West Coast, i.e., California, etc., the cost of living is highly expensive there. So that means you have to pay those people a hell of a lot of money. So if you, let's just say you got 3,000 people working on a game and they live in a very super expensive ass area, maybe a good couple dozen $1 million went to paying that staff. Rockstar nor Take Two has yet to come out and say GTA 6 was over $1 billion.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when the game comes out, let's wait and see because they do disclose how
Mm,
much it took
yeah.
them to make
uh,
GTA 5,
Yeah.
how much it took to make Red Dead 2. They do say that, but people just keep throwing that astronomical number because of how long they've been working on it. And then, of course, too, when the time comes, and the time will come, when the marketing machine for GTA riles up, even though you don't need to market GTA sells on its own. But when they do push that marketing beast, it will be everywhere. And marketing does cost.
Yeah.
But I do know why people keep pushing this $1 billion theme. I guess because it makes it sound cool, or it makes it sound like, oh, because they spent more money on it, that makes it a better game. That's not true. That's not true because I can give an example right now. Concord was accordingly $400 to $500 million, and that game died in less than 2 weeks. The price does not mean nothing. The juice is not always worth the squeeze, people. I want you to hear me. The juice is not always worth the squeeze. I want to give a
Yeah.
quick example. Jordan Peele, when he started making movies, another side note, real quick, his first movie, Get Out, that everyone told him would fail, he spent $5 million on that movie. It made almost, I think, over 100 million or 200 on $5 million. Let that sink. All right, I'm done. You go ahead.
Yeah, it's okay. That cap about like, oh, the cost of making a game, blah blah. I don't give a damn. The price of games are they're comfortable charging you 80, 90, $100. So I don't care how much it costs you, because at the end of the day, you still coming out positive on the other end, because you gonna charge me for whatever quote unquote cost or whatever Okay, like let's not act like this is not a business and they're not making their money back 9 out of 10 times.
Absolutely.
And like you said, they went down that live service route, and I think it really bit them in the ass. And they're trying to recover. They're trying to bounce back. They're trying to go back to what made games great. I'm gonna just get into the gen comparisons from Generation 9 to Generations 8 sales because it was quite interesting. Because I never really thought to look it up. This is all Gen 8 considered. This is what is considered Gen 8. The PlayStation 4, the Xbox One, and the Wii U. Horrible system. I'd actually had one, but horrible. So the Wii U, of course,
God
was the
bless you.
least selling system. It had 13.5 million hardware units sold. This is worldwide, by the way. Xbox One
Mhm.
had 50, right under 58 million units sold. And
Estimate.
PlayStation 4, of course, was the number one selling Gen 8 system with 117.2 million units. So globally, this is global numbers. So that's Gen 8. Now remember, I said 117, 58, and 13.5.
13.5.
All right, so Gen 9. Sony has, as of June 30th, 2025, they've only sold 80 million PS5 units.
Yep.
Now, like I said, there was a lot of stuff going on when the Gen 9 originally released, but I just find that interesting. Yeah, they still 20 units behind, and they're already talking about the next generation, Generation 10. And it's just
Mhm.
like, and the Xbox Series X and S reportedly, this is an estimate, so 30 to
Estimate.
37
Mhm.
million units.
Yep.
And Switch One is actually the number one selling console in the ninth gen with 154 million units sold. The breakdown of that is the original Switch sold 97 million units. Switch Lite sold 26 million units, and the Switch OLED sold
Sexy.
a little under 31 million units.
That's
So
impressive.
yeah, so I was actually interested. I didn't even realize that the Switch One was the number one selling console of the ninth gen, but it makes sense. Like it's a handheld. It was the cheapest system in the
Hmm.
generation, and I
Hmm.
just think that I just feel like the Switch One was out for a very fucking long time
It
compared
was.
to the rest of the systems in the generation. Like I feel like Switch had like a 3 year jump. I might be not remembering correctly, but it has. I feel like it had like a big jump before the PS 5 and the Xbox X and S came out.
So
Trying to
I'm
remember.
trying to see. I'm trying to remember. The Switch One came out in March of 2017. The PS4 and Xbox One was still going
Yeah,
on.
yeah. Uh-huh.
But see, my main hiccup right now, before I break all the data down you gave, is Nintendo. The in it themselves, it's hard to quantify where they are generational wise because when the Wii U came out, Nintendo's marketing was how much more powerful and just beefier specs than it was of PS3 and 360. It wasn't touting or saying anything about PS4, etc. And from what I can remember, I could be wrong. I'm sure someone in the comments will correct me. People are finicky like that. But if I remember correctly, I believe the Switch. I'm sorry, not Switch. Nintendo is always a generation behind. So
Yeah,
while you count
yeah. That's why I
so while
said
you're counting the Switch One with PS5 and etc., I would say Switch One is with PS4 and Xbox One, and now
yeah.
Switch Two
And I
is
thought that
PS5.
too when I looked up the all these figures, but that's why I preferenced and said this is what is considered the eighth generation consoles.
Oh, okay, okay.
When you look up eighth generations consoles, Wii U is gonna pop up, not the Switch, and that's why I said
Hmm.
that at the beginning. And that's why I was surprised. I'm like, oh well, then that makes sense why the Switch would be the number one selling console in the ninth generation, because mofo, the Switch One came out March 3rd, 2017. The
Yeah,
PS5
and
didn't
that
come
and that
out
makes no
till
sense
yeah, the
till
PS5 didn't
2020.
come out till
So
no at the end, November 12th, 2020. So like yeah,
yeah, yeah, those math numbers ain't mathing. But okay, if that's how they want to consider, that's all to me. But I can give you opinion and hard fact on why all of that is the way it is, from their numbers, the success, the failures. I can break down all of that. So the PS4 did so well from PS3 is because Sony took a look in the mirror. And as I've stated before, the PS3, a great system it was a highly over engineered. A lot of shit it did, your average person wasn't buying a system to do. They took it back to the basics and just made a straight game. But not only just that, the blunder of the Xbox One and its TV
Oh
shit
god.
really helped solidify PlayStation to
It
come in and be like, hey, we're all about games, baby. Hey, you want to share games? Here you go. That infamous video still rings till today. And a lot of people say the reason that the Xbox brand is struggling is still from all the goodwill they
mm-hmm.
had 60, they blew it at that. And now you have some people who say that the Xbox One was just a little too ahead of its time with that because you look at current gen gaming now, a lot of shit is always online, connectivity, etc. But Microsoft being Microsoft, they tried to force it rather than just let it happen, and gamers slash consumer rebelled. The
Listen.
Wii U, the Wii
Listen.
U was go ahead.
No, I'm just like, I don't, that is not a valid excuse anymore for a system, a console failing to sell. Oh, it was ahead of its time. Well, motherfucker, it's your responsibility to look at the landscape of the economy because when the PS3 released, the economy, at least in the US, wasn't the best. Okay. We was coming out of some stuff and the average household could not afford a $600 system and then add games on top of that. So I don't want
Not
to
to mention,
hear
it was
it
right
was
before
ahead
the
of its
recession
time.
of 2008.
I don't that is not a valid reason it was ahead of its time. No, if this is your how you feed the people that work for you, you pay your bills as a company, it is your responsibility to look in the mirror and look at the landscape across the globe and see, hey, where are we at? Like this is why they do the pre-production of consoles and they do the focus groups and they get all the feedback. No, I believe and why Xbox still hasn't recovered, they didn't want to face facts. And where Sony after the PlayStation 3, they was like, hey, bro, we're not taking a back to back L. So whatever we did that
No,
first time, it ain't about to fly
we're
this
not doing
time.
that again.
And Xbox hasn't done that still. And we in 2025 and they talking about the next gen. I'm like, I'm not buying another Xbox. You give me no reason to buy one. If you're not about games and all you want to do is sell me a little Xbox pass, then hey, you giving me the finger, I'm giving you the finger back because I'm not buying it. Like so
So I can attribute that to what I like to call, forgive my language, big dick syndrome.
yeah,
The
yeah.
PS2, the PS2 was was king. Sony was riding high like, yo, people are buying the game. We're making money. We are the king of gaming. We showed Nintendo. They tried to screw us. We're screwing them. We're shutting everybody down. And they rode in the PS3 thinking like, hey, y'all gonna buy this because we made it. And
Mm-hmm.
they learned the hard way. The same way as Nintendo did with the Wii to the Wii U. Oh, the Wii sold 100 million plus. We back on top. We got the casuals. And man, we don't need to market this. They gonna buy it. You know why? Say it for me in the back. Because it's Nintendo. And they learned the hard way as well. But I'll say this. Nintendo and Sony, like you said, they said, hey, we ain't taking back-to-back L. Even though Nintendo had. But they looked at their market and they realized, hey, the last couple generations, our home console just ain't been hitting like that. But you know what always hits? Our handhelds are always numero uno. The
Mm-hmm. Oh
DS,
yeah.
the Game Boy Advance.
The
We
SP.
always hitting it, baby. So why not just make a handheld that you can play like a console? And then there came the. I agree with you. Microsoft did not want to face facts. They looked at it as like, yo, we're Microsoft. No, 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 no. You are Xbox, baby. That's what you are. And rather than admit defeat, they're just like, you know what? We're just gonna do our own thing, and they just keep trying to do their own thing. I firm believe anyone who is more than willing, who wants to debate, argue this subject, I'm more than willing to do it. But I'm gonna say this and get my piece. Microsoft believes that their big dick money can sway the industry how they want, and they've been trying to do that for a while, and it has not been working. It has in some areas, but not to their liking, because not only was the Xbox One not doing great, the Xbox Series, and they just keep like, we're just gonna keep putting money into this. We're gonna push them to do what we want. Like they always kept saying, we would love to put a Game Pass on Nintendo and PlayStation. That will not happen. That's not going to happen. Xbox can swallow a lot of phrasing, a lot of cost because their parent company is $1 trillion entity. The cost that Xbox can swallow, Nintendo can't. Phrasing, PlayStation.
They
And
won't.
you will not use your money to force the industry's hand. I'm gonna tell you a quick story real quick. Since we're talking about generations in gaming. No one will remember this, but you can go look this up. PlayStation was trying to push for crossplay in the
Oh God, yes, I remember.
maybe the middle to Wii ends of the PS3 and 360, and it was Microsoft that said no because they were
Yeah,
riding on top, and they were like, "We don't
yeah,
need you, etc." You
yeah.
fast
They had
forward to
big
a
dick
whole new
energy at the
generation.
time.
Oh yeah, but then you fast forward to PS4, and this is why I've always said
Now
people
they got
have very
shrimp
short
dick
memory.
energy.
Yeah, people have very short memory because then everyone was upset that PlayStation had this Call of Duty deal that they got the maps first. And
Oh
Xbox
yeah.
wants everyone to play together, but Sony won't allow it. And I was sitting there looking like, first of all, where were all you all complaining when the Call of Duty games came to Xbox? And no one said anything when PC would complain. No one said anything when PlayStation complained. Now the pendulum has shifted, and well, that's anti-consumer. That's not fair. But you all didn't have that to say when Xbox was doing it, and now here comes Xbox. Oh, play anywhere. Everyone should play together. And PlayStation's like, my guy. I came to your house and trying to share some cookies, and you said hell no. So
Keep
why
that
would
same
I want
energy.
my people to play with your people? At the time, I'm gonna admit to this, and I used to be part of the problem. Xbox Live people are toxic.
Oh wait, they are. I haven't been.
I don't know how they are today. I don't play multiplayer games like that anymore. But I know the days of early Gears of War, Call of Duty
Oh
World at War, Modern
yeah,
Warfare. I got called the
yeah,
N word a lot just from talk. They didn't even
yeah.
know my ethnicity, but there's like just N word, F word, J word, destroying out so much stuff. And I'm not gonna lie, it was funny. I partook in it. Like I said, I was part of the problem. Your PlayStation audience is nowhere near like that. Maybe back then they probably weren't. Today, PlayStation is the head and the lead market share of console gaming, so it probably could have shifted. But back then, Sony was like, "Hey, let's work together," and Microsoft said no. That's why when everyone tries to be like, "Oh, Microsoft are the best place to go for gaming because they backwards compatible and they do this," every goodwill Xbox does is because they're losing. It's because they're quote unquote
Yeah, it's
in
not
third place.
genuine.
It's not genuine. It is only done to save face and to say, well, we do this and the competitor does it. Because, Lord, trust me, if the Xbox One was doing numbers like the PS4,
Ooh.
they would have not took away the party chat feature from Xbox Live Gold. They would not have took away you need gold in order to access your Netflix membership. They would not have made all these quote unquote consumer friendly choices had they been winning. Because when you're at the top, you make the rule. And that sounds negative, but that's capitalism, baby. That's America. That's how we roll. People just have short memory. There are a lot of things between generations that people do not remember, people do not talk about, which is why this podcast exists, because we, the consumers, we remember. We remember when others don't. And I remember plain as day when that crossplay shit was being talked about because I was like, crossplay? What the hell is that? I was like, yo, I don't want to play with no Xbox person. I play on PlayStation, not get called the N word. Now I can get called an N word from an Xbox person playing with me? No. But now, I mean, I enjoy crossplay. It allows me to play Helldivers with whoever and whatnot,
Yeah.
So, crossplay, it has come and it has been a addition to the industry. And let's just be honest, competition breeds innovation. And right now,
Oh
there's a
yeah.
huge lack of competition because Microsoft just does not care. Microsoft's like, yo, Xbox, we let you all have access to our big dick money, and you spent a lot of money on a lot of new shiny toys. We need to see results. I firmly believe if Xbox did not buy Activision, this whole third party Xbox games any and everywhere thing, this wouldn't be going down the way that it was. Because originally, you can look this up, listeners, because like I said, I remember now, it was stated that when Microsoft realized that PlayStation was talking to Bethesda and was going to make a year-long exclusive deal for Starfield to be on PS5 before it goes anywhere else, that is what made Xbox swoop in and buy Bethesda to keep Starfield and Bethesda games off of PlayStation. Fast forward now, Starfield is going to be coming to PlayStation next year, and all of Xbox games are coming to PlayStation. Do you see how quickly the winds change? The tides have shifted because Big Daddy Microsoft was like, hey, I lent you my credit card and you bought a lot of shenanigans. I need to see some type of ROI on all these purchases. I mean, Bethesda was one thing. That was 7.5 billion. You know, that's
Jeez.
like an afternoon for Microsoft. That's nothing. 70 for Activision. Overpaid the market price. And then the feds had to get involved. And it brought so much scrutiny to Microsoft as a whole. You had no choice but to not make any of it exclusive. It has to go everywhere. To not just for the deal to go through, but to actually make money. Hell, the CEO of Activision, Bobby Kotick, said to put Call of Duty in the Game Pass, it's asinine. And what do? Everything goes to Game Pass. This generation ain't what generations used. This generation, it ain't PS4, it ain't 360, it ain't GameCube. Those were generations that had games, moments, and features that innovated and made you say, hey, when you think of PS2, what comes to your mind? You'll think, hey, DualShock, you'll think Final Fantasy, Grand Theft Auto. You can name certain things that came to mind when someone speaks of a certain generation. You bring up PS5 and the series systems, and the first thing that comes to me is high prices, lackluster releases, and a lot of what do they call it? It's a certain term they have when a game launches for PS4 and PS cross generational game. It's been a lot of those. Like I was shocked when they said God of War Ragnarok is going to come out on PS4 and 5. I was like, whoa, what? And here we are, the year 2025. There are still PS4 games. That's all I got. Anything else, Trees?
Yeah, I just want to go quick memory lane of when the PS4 and the Xbox had came out. I remember watching E3 and they announced the new Xbox. Now, preferences, I was a 360 heavy user. I didn't have a PS3. I went from GameCube to an Xbox 360. And let's keep in mind how much, okay, so let's rewind. The first Xbox came out. It had its problems, its issues, whatever. 360 came out, just shot off like a freaking rocket, and it built
Mm-hmm.
up such a goodwill, and it was so it couldn't do no wrong. Let's keep in mind that the red ring of death was a major issue, and Xbox just said, hey, send it in, we'll replace it. I can't even think of the number they lost in that whole red ring of death, but they still came out on top. They were still the number one selling console for that generation. For them to survive such a, could you imagine PS5s having a red ring of death scandal? It would not survive. I don't think any console in today's era can
No.
survive a red ring of death. That's how much goodwill Xbox had in the community, because I had the red ring of death in my black
So did I.
360 and sent it in. It came back pretty quickly, and it was like it never happened, and I never had that issue again. So like I said, I don't think any system could survive that, and is a testament to how much goodwill Xbox had. And I watched that E3 and I listened to that man tell us as consumers what we're going to do going forward, always online. And
Mhm.
then
He also said if you couldn't afford or had
oh
good internet for the next Xbox, you should just stick with the
yes,
360.
mind you, this is not the pioneer of internet days. Like I remember, like my granny didn't have internet. Like Wi-Fi was still like, and then I was overseas in the military, so I did go extended amounts of period without. So that
Mhm.
was a big slap you and fuck you to me personally at the time. And then the whole little connect thing, forcing everybody to have it. It was a big A. We don't give a damn how you feel. We did the focus groups. We don't give a fuck about the feedback. Take it or leave it. And motherfuckers left it. And since then, since that E3, Xbox has never admitted on a, I guess, on a certain type of level, like, hey, we fucked up, and for that fuck up, we're gonna give this back to the community. We're going to. I feel like if it was me after that whole little finasco of that era, I would have been like, listen, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna take it back. We're gonna take it back, Barney style, 360 days. What's made us great? Our exclusive amount of content on our system. So everybody that's in the freaking studios that we have need to start giving me some ideas, baby, because we need more exclusive content that is just on our system. That's what made the 360 so great, because it was a lot of stuff. If you had a PlayStation, you couldn't play because you needed that Xbox. And I just don't think they ever, like, I just felt like they held on to that little whatever fuck they was trying to do for years and years and years and years, and it bled over into the next generation, and they just still haven't recovered. They still, the whole Game Pass, don't get me started on that bullshit. Like, and I'm at the point where I'm not buying two consoles, because if I can play all the games I want to play on one, why would I buy the other? No, baby. And like I said, I did eventually get the Xbox X. Like I said in the last episode, it's decoration. It collects dust. It's just sitting on.
Paperweight.
Yeah, I just happened to get one at a time where I got it way below market value, and I was just like, hey, and yeah, I haven't, like, there is nothing that I can't play on my PlayStation that will force me to get an Xbox. At least I haven't ran into nothing so far. I just, like I said in the last episode, I don't know the direction. I don't understand the direction. And as long as Microsoft is still not becoming humbled and being humble and facing the facts, like, bruh, we're in the video game industry. So that means we need to make video game. We need to give somebody a reason to spend $500 plus on our console. Like that pass ain't doing it. And I'm just waiting for that bubble to burst. Like, they did all these acquisitions. It's still on PlayStation. And even if it's not, it's a little delay. Like you said, Starfield eventually came. Like, so you just don't have a reason. And going into the 10th generation, I don't have faith in the Xbox. I honestly, at this point, I just feel like it's a Sony Nintendo race.
So
That's just how I feel.
I have a quick rebuttal to everything you said before we move on. I want to change up the verbiage you said. When you said no could survive. I want to change that to no company could survive.
Oh yeah.
It cost Microsoft 1.054 to fix the red ring issue.
Really? I didn't know it was that
company,
expensive.
oh yes, the 360 had a failure rate of, I think it was 54 or
Yeah.
56%.
Yeah, I know
That was
that.
the failure rate. That was the failure rate of the console, and that's a very high failure rate. It's also been that when you sent in your system to be fixed at Red Ring. At one point they were fixing them. At another they weren't. Like how you
Oh
say yours came
yeah.
back pretty quickly. They just
Yeah.
they were just giving out new
Yeah,
systems.
they just
They were giving out
replaced
new
it.
systems. Yeah, they just replaced. They're
Because it
like, yo,
was
we
more
can't
cost
fix this.
effective just to replace it than to try to fix them.
Yeah, yes.
They were
Between
they were coming in such
between
a
trying
heavy
to fix
clip.
the issue. Oh yeah, between trying to fix the issue, the shipping cost because they sent you the coffin and they paid for it to come to them, and then just giving out systems. All of that added up, and they had to increase the warranty from 1 year to 3 years. So that was one. Your next thing you said about the 360 into the Xbox One, the games and etc. So this is also, I'm gonna make this quick so we can move on. This is also another showing of times from Generation 7. The 360 and the PS3 had Gears 1, 2, and 3, Uncharted 1, 2, and 3 come out on the same hardware, on the same system. You didn't have to wait for the sequel to come out on the next console, as you do with most now. All three Gears games came out on the 360. That does not happen anymore. And by the time the Xbox One came out, Microsoft/Xbox had exhausted their exclusives in a sense. Epic Games was done making Gears of War. Halo was done. Bungie was gone. And instead of them taking all that big dick money and investing it into something new in their studios, oh, we're just going to buy the IPs off the companies that gave us those games and just, try to bring those games back. And it's like, that ship sailed, and it has sailed, and they need to let it go. PlayStation did the opposite. Hey, they had all three Uncharted games. PlayStation 4 did have an Uncharted 4, and then I think that one little spinoff, and then that was it. There has not been another Uncharted game in almost 10 years. They moved on, and you got you got Ghost of Tsushima, you got a new IP. You got Horizon Zero Dawn, you got a new IP. They took the money from their failed and successes and made something more and new. Had they failed, okay, we'll try something else, or they would have went back to what tried and true worked. But Microsoft, just like you said, they just kept trying to make the same shit work, and it's like, no, honey, as I said, this ship sailed, and they just have not let that go, because here we are, Halo Infinite, here we are, Gears 4, 5, Tactics, and now E-Day. Here we are, we're just here, still trying to make more money off the same old shit, but that's where Generation 9 of gaming is. And that's it for this video of Are You Not Entertained podcast. Thanks for hanging out with us. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that bell so you'll never miss our next hot take. Until next time, are you not entertained?